all got to have some place where we come from. Some place that we come from is called home.
Okay.
All right. Hey, welcome to the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday, which means it's a feedback show time. You can find us everywhere that you find podcasts. Just search the Blackout Tips. Leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We didn't get any this week, but leave us them, okay? We're not joking. Come on. The official weapon of the show is
the taser.
And the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
A bullet ball, extreme.
We absolutely love 5-star reviews. I don't think y'all understand how much we love and we appreciate the 5-star reviews. You don't even have to be a part of Apple. You can just create an Apple account and just leave us one and leave your other favorite podcast one too. If you was like, oh, I left one a while ago, renew.
And we also love money. You can go to theblackouttips.com and look on the right-hand side. And if you want to donate, support the show monetarily through PayPal, recurring, one time, we don't care. We give you a shout out for doing so. And that's what we're about to do right now.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Bob and Karen. We welcome the good folks of time to the Blackout Tips.
That's right. New salutations, new donations. Dorothea with the recurring donation. Thank you. Jason F, Tyrone M, Waste Bees Basura, Jasmine A, Michael Irvin the Playmaker, Stefan H, Michael F, Deborah O, Allison H, Mary H, Brian B, Jonathan H, Corey B, Jeff M, Marvin B, yes, Marvin B, Michael W, Early Daisy Photography, Nicole F, J Full, Miko H, Asia D, Chriselle B, Annie P, Annie, are you okay? I hope so. Tom W Jr., Michael S, Dana R, Nicholas Z, Laura E, Bomani Jones, Jane M, Noel W, Sonia B, Pete B, Douglas R, David from Brooklyn, Johanna M, Ricky A, pretty Ricky what to call him, Cavis D, Laura F, and lastly Chris from Hawaii. Thank you everybody for all the money. We love it and we will plan to spend it accordingly. Those drums. Well, like I said, we didn't get any 5-star reviews, so that means we can just go ahead and get straight up into the actual, episodes. Episode 27-23, slipping into Kevin Samuel's brunch boots, was the title. We had some comments, 5 comments in total. Appia from Germany tunes in first. You know how she do. You know how she do. Okay. She's first and foremost. She's going to be on top of it. Phone versus email. At work, some conversations are for email and some are for phone, in my opinion. Exchanging information, email rules. Bitching about another department, call. A phone call cannot be forwarded so easily. It's way more private, of course, not 100%, but better. Even when I communicate with my supervisor on the phone, I say to him, this new company rule is horse shit and everyone knows it. I would never use an email for this kind of talk. Absolutely say critical stuff in writing, but think about the language and how it could be misunderstood. Yeah, I think Miss Smart would probably agree with that. You know, she's big on the, corporate HR type of discussion. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. Do your shit talking off the record. Pamela M.A. says, hi, Rod and Karen. I haven't listened to the episode yet, but my son told me about the survey question, which is, do you need us to bring back the Walking Dead review? No, I don't need for you to do the Walking Dead recaps. I say that while enjoying all of your past thoughtful, entertaining recaps. I'm here for the jokes. I'm not watching one episode of Walking Dead, too gross, but I read the graphic novel run, or I read it, okay. But always listen to the recaps because you two are amazing storytellers. No skips. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Oh,
thank you.
Anyway, You both have enough work to do, so watch and enjoy the final season. If you feel like giving some broad strokes over the last season like you did the last This Too Much on Swarm Beef and Snowfall, do that. Or do show by show. Whatever works best for you or your schedules. If we don't get anything at all, I won't be upset about it. Appreciate all that you both do, Pamela. Thanks, Pamela.
Thank you.
Kai says, this joint let me vote twice, so there's that. Yes to the Walking Dead recap. Also, now the poll might be off because you was able to vote twice. It is weird that you decided to vote twice.
Messing up the science.
Right. It's weird. It's more weird that you decided to try to vote twice than it is that you can vote twice.
It might have been an accident. You're like, oh, I can do it twice.
Yeah, and now I gotta hope you just voted twice. Shit gonna be like 99% yes. You're like, well, that's weird. Yes to the Walking Dead recap. I haven't watched it because I'm waiting on y'all. Y'all eyes emoji. I'm waiting on y'all eyes emoji. Anyway, love and peace. Sean says, as per the poll, do I need to know what I enjoy? Definitely would I enjoy it, even if you decide to do a latter half of the final season compilation episode. Yes to that too. Wait, you say Fear the Walking Dead is back? Damn, I have to get caught up. Yeah, I haven't started that either. The poll, let me check the other comments, then we'll do the poll. Mm-hmm. On the webs, on YouTube, slipping into Kevin Samuels Brunch Boots, we got one comment. Karina says, hey, Rod and Karen, add me to the list awaiting your Walking Dead recast. Let's finish strong. Okay. And then on Stitcher / Spotify for podcasters, I guess. Not Stitcher. What did I say? It's just Spotify for podcasters now. Yeah. On that episode, we have the poll results and some comments. Okay. So poll results on our website, 56% of people say they need us to bring them back. 43% say don't. But then we found out that some of y'all was voting twice.
So I don't know how accurate these numbers actually are.
So let's go to the Spotify where it might be a little more accurate. Spotify, 40% yes, 60% no, which is still a pretty high percentage. I guess we're gonna bring them back, guys. I'll figure a way out for us to bring it back somehow. I don't know how. I don't know where I'm gonna find the fucking time, but we'll figure it out. I haven't deleted off my DVR, and I do want to watch them.
Me too.
So, all right, y'all win. We'll
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
And for the people for the fear, we'll figure that out too. The fear is premium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, and then comments on the episode on Spotify, the Q&A. Don't forget to celebrate Juneteenth. Aaron says, when you have to work, kind of shrug face emoji, like sad emoji. Always and forever, says James. Raphael says, I'm celebrating Juneteenth in Germany this year, but already secured a venue in Maritas for all of us to have the mother of all celebrating freedom and fun on the menu. Let's go. Grab your tickets now. Lee says, my white coworker had to remind me. I'm so ashamed. That is sad when the allies are showing up at your desk on Juneteenth like, wow, you here? Okay. Wow. Thought you was a real one. Didn't know. June says, even though I'm in Harlem, we celebrate an annual parade down 116th Street. Oh, yeah. It's not just a Texas thing. All right. Episode 27, 24. Moving on up. This is an episode with my dad. We had 3 comments. Appia says, oh, your both parents are so sweet and respectful, Rod. By that, I mean they realize that you are an adult and act accordingly. My parents are very supportive and would, I guess, do everything for us, but still try to parent me, and I'm exactly your age. I have 2 kids, a law degree, a successful career, and other good stuff, so I know no matter what I do, it will never change. I wish my parents could learn from yours. Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like I'm lucky I have some good parents, and also I think, you know, to a certain extent, there are always going to be parenting me, you know. It's just, it doesn't necessarily happen on the air on the show, but, you know, like my dad was talking to me about investing my money the other day, you know. It's just, you know, it happens, but it doesn't necessarily have to be obnoxious. And also I just think it's not necessarily a bad thing for your parents to want to parent you. That's what they're here on the planet for. Just, I guess it depends on their style and your attitude about it, but they just haven't been obnoxious about it, at least from my experience. So I'm not bothered by it, but you know, yeah. But that sucks if your parents are over parenting you and you're a grown up, you know?
Yeah. And truth be told, it's hard to be a parent because you can be parents of multiple children and each child has different needs. So a lot of parents, and it's hard because you have to adjust your parenting style to meet each need of your child. And for a lot of parents, they have one parenting style and it's blanketed. They apply that shit to everybody because it's simpler than to try to learn these parenting styles. And on top of that, you have to think about a lot of the words and terms and shit we have now. We didn't have that decades ago when a lot of our parents were parents. And so they didn't know that, may not have understood love language of a child. They might not have understood, what ADHD was and all these things that, that children have and things like that. And on top of that, a lot of parents, particularly if you were raised in the household where they didn't have a lot of money, I was like, I ain't got no time for that, no money for that. I got to work. And so it's a lot of pressure on the parent to be a parent and take care of the household and do all these other things too. Now, it's not an excuse for their behavior. All I'm saying is once you become an adult, you have more understanding and more empathy for your parents and all the shit that they had to deal with.
Yeah, and as a parent, I say be the change you want to see. So when you get older, if you're lucky to be able to get older and your kids are getting older, remember these moments and from their perspective and from yours, and see if maybe you can break the cycle to like parent differently and be able to kind of hold back. I bet it's hard for parents to hold back because your whole life you're raising these people, you watch them shit their pants and fucking throw up and need you for everything, and then one day they just don't if you did a good job, and then at some point they're making their own decisions. They might even be a little hostile towards your advice. So I'm sure it's a difficult fluctuating thing that's individual for each relationship. But yeah, I appreciate my parents not being the overbearing type that whatever.
Yeah, and also like I said before, each child's personality is different because like I said, I have a type of personality and my mama didn't understand my personality and it caused conflicts on both sides. Type of thing. And there are some parents that are just flat assholes. You can't get around that. But most parents don't purposefully, particularly if they're good parents, their whole purpose is not to make your life miserable and not to ruin your life. That's not their purpose. Even though as children, that's how it comes off because, not trying funny, nobody likes to be told what to do when they're growing up because you think you know everything as a child.
Right. Next episode. Oh, wait. That was just one comment, right? Yeah, Ernest says, I'm pretty sure that Jack Harlow is getting ahead of the eventual Strawberry Shortcake live-action remake and making his case for being cast as the Purple Pie Man. I don't know enough about Strawberry Shortcake, but I bet that's funny. EVE says, I always enjoy your parents on the podcast. Hope your dad had a happy Father's Day. I wish I could have been there to laugh at all those people who thought Trump was going to pay for their food. He didn't even pay for his own. LOL. The comment on YouTube. My mom says, awesome show, family. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
And then let's check the comments on Spotify for podcasters. And the poll. So the poll, Jack Harlow wearing a bonnet. I support it. I don't care. I hate it.
I don't care.
Okay. Well, Karen, you're in the vast majority. 85% of our audience did not care. 4% supported it.
Flourish on.
And 10% hate it. And almost the exact same thing on Spotify. 3% supported, 83% don't care, 15% hate it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have strong feelings either, to be honest. I don't know.
You just don't want to wake up with bad head.
I ain't mad at y'all that's mad at it, but I also don't have to care. So
yeah, I don't have the energy to care.
Yeah. The Q&A. Food for everyone. Ernest says the Hamburglar strikes again. Aaron says yes, at restaurants everybody eats. Raphael says I'm currently in Appia's country ensuring the shuttle to Africa is polished, ready. The AI got me when a commercial speaking German came on, and I was like, who's trying to get me? Trying to expand my hustle.
Oh no.
Moving on around the globe. We had episode 2725 with 11 comments.
Oh, what the hell we talk about? Y'all had a lot to say.
It was called Cracker Barrel Has Fallen. Ernest says at the press conference, Logitech was quoted as saying, "Now, why am I in it?"
Right?
Talking about the Logitech controller in the submarine.
They was like, we just make controllers for games. We didn't know we was gonna be in the submarine.
Yeah, down in David Jones' locker.
Right, causing our attack. Our what you call that? Stock to fall.
Think Pretty Smart says earlier at the same event, a fan went onto the stage. This is before the young lady was on the stage. She's talking about Sukihana, I believe. Security and the dudes on the stage had an appropriate reaction and handled him. Unfortunately, I can't find the video right now. Anyway, based on that, we know that those men, all the ones like them, know how to react when they see and sense an attack. These men don't believe women can be attacked. The reason Megan didn't get it is because she had a large black-ass football player boyfriend who was present. She was also seeking higher education, didn't have any kids, especially any out of wedlock. Does Sukihana have all that stuff? Or I really am asking because I don't know. Basically, you have to be pretty, attached to a man, have no living proof of sexual activity, to have any chance of support protection from a certain ilk of men under 65. Well, you know what I find interesting here is that there's a lot of women rappers right now. Mm-hmm. And this is not the experience of a lot of women rappers. Mm-hmm. I don't know Sukihana's background 100% to know what she does and does not have in the way of respectability. But I know all those rappers that I listen to that aren't getting this level of treatment, right, they all have varying levels of respectability. It's not all the same. Like, many of them are rapping about sex constantly and not necessarily attached to a man publicly. Many of them are pretty. I don't know why this shit got so out of control with her and what people see in her that is so fucking different, you know. And, you know, like I said, I don't want to chalk it all up to her being darker skinned because, you know, Flo Millie's dark skinned. But there's something that made those people feel like we ain't worried about anyone coming to have her back compared to these other women.
Right.
Shorter, these cats have zero leadership skills. Well, that's true. And yes, I still use cat casually in sentences because I'm an auntie. Of course. Yeah, man. I like that it was very disappointing. And I think what was interesting too is that a lot of the people who were looking at that situation with those guys that wanted to somehow still be against her started spreading a video of her twerking on like a 10-year-old boy or some shit. Like, well, she did this, you know? And I'm like, even if she did that, I don't understand why that means you can just go up and grope her. Like, that's not, those two things aren't the same to me.
It does not excuse the behavior.
Lil Boosie talks about getting his kid, like, a prostitute to have sex with while he was underage. That doesn't mean you can go up to his kid and fucking do something to the kid. That, like people try to get stupid on purpose. It feels a lot like when a white person says the N-word and then goes, well, y'all say it in rap, and you're like, well, if you're stupid, sure. But no one's that stupid to think you really got confused, you know?
Yeah, and I see people in the chat room saying she's on OnlyFans. And even if she is, Cardi B's on OnlyFans.
Yeah, a lot of rappers went on OnlyFans for a while. A lot of celebrities,
right? And even if she is, it still doesn't excuse the.
And also, there are full-blown porn stars who don't get treated like that. Like, I am a porn star. I'm on a podcast. I'm doing an interview. No one can just walk up to me and try to like tongue me down, grope me. You don't get on the mic and be like, "I'm gonna eat your ass. I'm gonna do like." I don't know what happened specifically for it to be so out of control for her,
right?
Compared to we've seen, like, people act like we've never seen a woman like this before,
right? And it's very, very frustrating because it's like this is completely. It's like she stands out among the rest of the pack as far as like the behavior. All these other female rappers go in public, do interviews, they do all these things, but it's not this fucking level of disrespect, and everybody just think it's cool, and everybody's pointing, and everybody's laughing like this shit is cool, and it's absolutely positively not. And then once you be like, this is some bullshit, that like you wrong for calling them out for not calling out other men that they blatantly see disrespecting her.
Yeah, like I said, it absolutely understand what people are saying, and that she's sexualized in a different way. They see, but that's her sexualizing herself. That's consent, you know. If she want to put videos of herself having sex on Pornhub or something, I still think there are women that have done those type of things that don't get treated like this in public, even by rappers and stuff. It just felt weird, you know. And you know how you know it's weird. She's been famous for at least a little bit. Every interview ain't like this.
No, it's not.
So like the vast majority of people know how to act, even with her being overly quote unquote sexual. The vast majority of people interviewing her are like, yeah, obviously that doesn't mean you can just fucking say and do anything to her. So I don't know, man. Next comment, Miss Smart says, it made me uncomfortable to agree with Umar's overall premise as he called them to the communal carpet, then turn on the blackout tip and have y'all assault me with this too. Is nowhere safe. I don't pay my tithes to be at the front on the front pew for guest pastor Umar. LOL. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was on the Karen Hunter show and they played the Umar clip, and it was like right when I was hopping off. And the thing that I started to see in that conversation was it was gonna turn into Dr. Umar, hero, slightly problematic, but hard in the right place, blah, blah, blah. And the other Lamont, I think, was about to take it into a place of like, well, you know, these women do hate men because feminism has taught black women to hate black men and shit. And so I had to thread this needle, which is I appreciate what Umar said in this situation because those men often go unchallenged when they dog out black women in these conversations, and they didn't see it coming from Umar, who, I'm sorry, I don't know or believe in Umar the way a lot of people do. So for me, I'm like, I think this is a pivot to a smart, savvy pivot to an area where he can be alone and get the money and attention that comes from being alone. Because just if he continues to be the kind of dude that downs black women a lot, he will, because he has in the past, he will just be part of this landscape that is this Kevin Samuels-esque, we're shitting on black women, and all those dudes at the top of that pile don't fuck with each other. They're such egomaniacs, they can't work together. They talk all that community shit, but when you go through all the black leaders of social media, almost all of them don't like something about the other dude, and it's always really just that I don't want nobody to be popular but myself.
Right.
And so I said to them, I was like, I appreciate what he's saying. It's still extremely like patriarchal. It's still extremely like men do this, women do that, you know, fine, how you feel about that. But he also is still a dude that believes homosexuality is a disease and a conspiracy theory that black people have been brainwashed into from white people to make us be gay and whatever. There's no gay people in Africa, according to him. So I'm not putting him on a hero pedestal and forgetting everything he's ever said because I thought he was saying some good stuff here. So I think that's one of the things that gets lost is that a person like this says something you actually don't find reprehensible, and then it's like a whitewashing over the rest of them because we need him to be a good person, or else we're not good people for liking what he said. And I think the core of a lot of analysis of pop culture, media and stuff, and why I reject most of it and don't really have many discussions about it outside of this podcast, I don't like the virtue signaling. I don't like the better than thou type of shit that we attach to consumerism, to capitalism, to fanness. You know, it's why y'all are defending in my opinion, it's why y'all are defending Jonathan Majors.
Mm-hmm.
It's why it's like you've attached. You can't. He has to be completely innocent because you can't be wrong because you like him, and he can't be a bad person.
Right.
Because you would never. That would make you a bad person for liking a bad person. Mm-hmm. So you got to jump through all these hoops, and it's just making people look stupid to me. So that's what I see when I look at this. Dr. Umar thing is like, well, now he said something I like. I want to like him. How do I erase everything else? And I'm just like, he said one thing I like. Okay.
Right. And people are complex and people are complicated and there are horrible people that do great shit all of the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where this shit need nuance, and people do not. They nuance is like a kryptonite for people. They like nuance, nah, black and white on every fucking thing.
Right.
And I down the grave on it. It's like, well, you're stupid.
All right, but and thanks to Mimi for telling us about the Sukihana sex video stuff. I just didn't know. I don't mind being informed, and I know you weren't trying to say, and that's why it's okay to assault her. You're saying this may be the reason they think it's okay compared to these other women, which still doesn't make it okay. So I get it, Mimi, and I'll definitely be doing some research on those videos afterwards. Appia says, Mr. Appia.
Respectfully, for research purposes.
Respectfully, come on, I'm a scientist. Mr. Appia. Appia says, Mr. Appia and I have money but no time, so we basically don't date. Sometimes we go on bike rides. I feel sometimes guilty about it. I know it would be fun because we don't, but there's nothing I can do about it. I can only take the time out of sleep or workout time. The day has only 25 hours. I know it's 24, but I wanted to point out how extra busy we are. Listen, I want to agree with you because you know your life better than I do. But respectfully, I disagree. I think if you wanted it to happen, you can make it happen.
It don't have to be long.
I'm not judging you if you don't want it to happen.
Agreed.
Not everything has to be a priority for every couple and everybody. But I think if you wanted to make it a priority of like once a month, we're gonna go out and to a nice restaurant and have a date night for us, I feel like you can make it happen somehow. It's just but you don't have to want that.
No,
you know what I mean?
Because that's not the desire of everybody.
I personally think it's important to still go out and make you have to fight to make time so you can kind of stay, reminded that it's not only just obligations and work and duty. A lot of this has to be about wanting to be with each other and wanting to do stuff, but you may find that other places. It might be that bike ride for you. It might be
it doesn't have to be extravagant.
It might be whatever. But me personally, this is only for me. I would find a way to go out and do something every once in a while, just because I think it's important, man, to be outside of obligation sometime, outside of duty and chores and work and just the kids and school and this. I think that's important, and I get that not everybody has the luxury or the time, but yeah,
and like I said, it doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be, I know I see the niggas online shit on it, but it can really be a picnic. Like, it doesn't have to be things that cost a lot of money, like, because every couple is different. And I'm gonna tell you right now, sometimes this adulting thing is bullshit and it sucks. So every now and then you need a motherfucking break where you can actually tap out of reality with your mate or significant other and be like, this is our time. If it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a weekend, a break, we gonna go to the movies and eat dinner while the baby, like, just something, because you need a time where you can actually be yourself and not be obligated.
If you feel that way,
right?
You might not even feel that way. So I'm not trying to tell you how to live, but to say you can't do it, I have more faith in you. I think you can if you want to.
I think you can too. I have faith in you too.
Ramsey D. Jenkins says, this is a good episode, 5 stars and 5 heart emojis. Being a black woman in America is exhausting. Anytime we speak up and advocate for ourselves, we're too strong, overly sexualized and aggressive. Yeah, and I think, I didn't know about Sukihana putting the like sex video stuff on social media and stuff. But I think we're also in the age of like these boundaries being tested. And we're finding out that a lot of people, like, the theory of online and the reality of real life are so fucking disconnected. And we're finding these out more and more, especially as we come out the house and start to be together communally again. You're seeing like there's limits to this shit. It's like there's people that get mad about dress codes at brunch. That's their new thing. It's like, black people, so why can't you wear my bonnet or whatever? It's like, okay, cool. You don't like that they have a dress code that specifically mentions some things in black culture, which if black people are the people coming and they got a dress code, they're going to eventually get to that anyway. But fine. Okay. You don't like that. But then there'll be a video later of like somebody twerking on a table at brunch. And so then you have a conversation like, well, yeah, but is that cool? And online, people that's not at the restaurant, yes, y'all doing respectability. I can't twerk on the table. I can't spread my cheeks on the fucking over the bread.
Child, no, not when I meet my pork chop.
And then eventually you'll see a video, and I've seen several at this point, of like, I literally saw a video of people having sex. I saw someone doing oral sex at one of these black brunch things, or just brunch things, but it's all black people there. I saw another thing where somebody literally squirted, like was masturbating until they squirted at brunch and recording it to put it up somewhere. I saw a video the other day of a woman at a restaurant, man with his family behind her. She pulled her titties out and was filming it, and was like, the caption on the video was like, what would you do if you was with your family and you saw me pulling out my titties? And I was like, yeah, we're getting to this point where all these theories are starting to get tested, and it's not cute in real life. People do push back. People do go, no, you can't do that, or whatever. And a lot of these people ain't on board with it and ain't online, and they're not woke like that. So them saying, I saw this woman doing whatever sexual activity video she posted, and then seeing her in real life, these motherfuckers ain't did the reading. They not in the community like that. And they don't believe in sexual agency and autonomy and consent. They just think they're just fucking animal brain niggas that think that, oh yeah, she out the house, now it's time for me to make my move. And obviously they shouldn't, and it's wrong. But I think we're starting to see some of that now that we're all coming out the house.
I would definitely have a problem with that, because like I said,
a problem with what?
You fucking having oral sex and squirting in front of my bottomless mimosa. You're like, yeah, bitch, it's gonna be a problem.
I think online you saw people kind of getting to extremes, because this is the problem with online, is like, it's all theory to people.
Right.
It's why it's like, we don't need any cops. And you're like, well, that's fucking stupid, but okay, sure. But you can say that online. You can get mad at every politician that says we're not going to do that. And at the end of the day, you didn't really do anything, because none of this was real for you, because it's not, you don't actually have to solve a problem. If someone got robbed in your neighborhood, show me how community intervention is going to solve it for everybody. Show me what you do for the people that's like, I am going to shoot people and I'm not going to stop until someone puts me away or kills me. I will continue to do what I want to do.
And fuck your rules. What do you do?
Yeah. But on Twitter, where getting rid of you is as simple as a block, I can just do that. And so I think I can go private and not experience any opinions that disagree with me. It's just easier. So I think we're seeing some of that stuff rubber meet the road now that we're at the house, and it's been interesting to see how people fall on it.
Right. And then, people get crazy when they start posting these rules about what you can and cannot do. But guess what? A lot of them Twitter niggas, they don't leave the fucking house, so they don't count.
The thing with the dress code for me is just, I would imagine most of these black businesses that are trying to cater directly to black people, I would imagine they saw some shit before they instituted some of these dress codes. I'm not saying all of them. I'm sure there's some bougie things, but it's kind of becoming a landlord thing where everybody got to be an evil vow person. That anyone that's a landlord is terrible. And you're like, I don't know. My father has a condo that he's been a landlord over, and he's helped people his whole life with that. People down on their luck, single mothers, families, and shit. So I don't believe that just you slap the name landlord on somebody and they become a bad person.
Correct.
But I think that's kind of what's happening here with some of this stuff, which is like, you slap the name respectability on something, and then it immediately supposed to be like a bad thing to want that. And then the other part of it is, as a business owner, I would understand those people feeling like, yo, this is disrespectful.
Yes!
Because if y'all came into an establishment that was not black owned, and they were playing the same music, and they had the same ambiance and all that, you would be like, well, I'm still not going to go on Ruth Chris and twerk on the table, because I'm supposed to respect this establishment. A lot of this stuff is more complicated than just evil black people hating other black people. It's, it's a lot of stuff in the community that needs to be discussed, but it's not happening. Nicole says, hey, Ryan and Karen, love the show. I wanted to write in about Meghan Markle podcast article, specifically the one that says she had faked interviews with guests and edited her voice in later. You both said if this is even true, because they seem to be piling on to her, and I agree. Her podcast format had one archetype per episode, like Diva. She would interview the main celebrity guest, and then her team would interview academic experts to discuss the history of the world, how it gained popularity, etc. She would introduce the academic segments by saying "we spoke to" and gave her podcast team credit at the end of the episodes. The celebrity guests on the podcast would often post pictures of them and Megan in the recording studio on Instagram. Andy Scott, a producer on the Archetypes podcast, tweeted in response to the story, "We did occasionally have producers do interviews, though never the main ones, and we never edited her asking questions in the interviews that producers conducted." And then she linked to a tweet where with that from the dude who said that. And then she says, just adding one final thing, Andy Cohen came out dispelling the rumors that Megan didn't conduct her own interviews as well. A 30-second video of his response is here. All right, let's pull this up. Boom, boom, boom. Let's watch it as a family, everyone.
You know, Meghan Markle said your conversation on her podcast was tough and that she had conflicting feelings about the housewives. And you wish she had said that to you. Will you invite her on Watch What Happens Live to further this conversation?
I would love for her to come on Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, have those invites been sent out?
I'm sure we've invited her. Yeah,
I'm sure. You know, there was this rumor going around that Meghan didn't conduct her own podcast interviews. I know that you sat down for an interview on the podcast. Did you actually speak with her?
Of course I did. And
Yeah.
she definitely did. And that's an insane rumor.
Right? I know,
Her podcast is conversations with people. How would she not have? Of course she did.
I know there was these rumors that they said that they edited, like a producer did the interviews and they edited her.
Absolutely not. And she was quite well researched and well informed and thoughtful.
You know, Meghan Markle said your conversation on her podcast.
So that's the clip from that. And yeah, this is why I said if that's even true. And it's not out of some like loyalty to Meghan and Harry. I honestly don't keep up with them that tough. And I'm mostly, honest to God, and I don't mean this in a bad way or a good way. I mostly don't care. And I don't really want to care. I think it was like, I haven't been really surprised by anything that's happened to them. I've always thought the British people were racist as fuck. I've always thought that that family was probably racist. But so are the majority of white families, if you come down to it. Like, do they have some racial history, animus relationships? Yeah. And especially white people that have been rich and in power for a long time, of course they have it. I think the only really surprising things have been like Harry standing by his woman and being like, man, we getting the fuck out of here and I'm gonna talk shit about my racist family. That's been the only surprise. I kind of think people expected her to eat it and be like, even if it is racist, I know what I'm getting myself into. I just got to deal with it. And for her and Harry to reject that, and Harry with his family and his history with his mom and tabloids and stuff, I get it. I don't I haven't read any of the books. I haven't wanted to read the excerpts of the book. I haven't watched The Crown. I don't care. But I know how much white people seem to fucking hate them. And I don't mean just your royalists. It's just like this general, like, how dare y'all even keep talking about this shit? We tired of y'all. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Now keep in mind, we talk shit about the royal family and their history and how terrible they are, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to just shut up and go along with it. And you're definitely not supposed to make no books or make a living off of talking shit, whatever. Cool, fine. But it mostly seemed like white people feel that way. And what has happened a lot of times, whenever I have looked into stuff, they're telling the most biased, if not outright lying version of shit. And they just accept it because confirmation bias. I don't want to like these people. I heard something negative about them. Must be true. We're rolling like that. Bill Simmons clearly lied on them. Y'all, this is only the first person that wrote in, but many of you wrote in with the same information. I'll probably have to skip some later. But yeah, Bill Simmons don't like, and for the record, rightfully so. He ain't gotta, I'm not saying he's being racist. If you paid them or authorized a $20 million payout to people who only made 12 episodes of a podcast in 3 years, I understand you might be a bit upset.
Me too.
I completely get it. You ain't got to, like, You don't even need to make up this like, and I heard she don't be interviewing people. Like, nah, dog. And then the last thing I'll say on this, and I'm gonna just move on without giving much details if you'll allow. But game theory, I work with people who worked on, I think it was Any Given Monday or something like that, which was Bill Simmons. Like Bill Simmons had an HBO show at some point that lasted one season and got canceled. I work with the people that worked with him. He ain't got a lot of room to talk. Put it that way. Like if we're gonna talk about work ethic, hustle, and getting shit, behind the scenes and producing a high quality product and putting in everything it takes to be good at TV, he ain't got a lot of room to talk. So, just take that with a grain of salt. Appia says, every woman has a story. I believe that, at least one. I was never raped, but I was harassed and touched without consent. That's for sure. Like when that disgusting guy in the elevator touched my breast and asked how much I would charge for sex, for example. It's been 17 years and I still, when I'm in the elevator with a guy alone, place my bag between us and go as far to the other side as possible.
Right. It will fucking traumatize you.
And I'm sorry that happened to you. And yeah, I think about that a lot too as a dude, especially a black dude. Sometimes you get in the elevator or some situation and like a person does kind of react to your presence as if like I need to protect myself. And I get it. I don't even really get mad. I know a lot of black dudes get offended by that. Like, God, how dare you? But honest to God, man, like I don't know that person's story. And all I can say is I'm never gonna touch or harm anybody in that way. So I mean, you just on your guard for no reason around me. But yeah, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. I'm not offended by this. You clutch your purse, that's cool. Like I'm in my own head with my anxiety thinking like, I hope this woman don't make a story up because nobody's gonna believe a black dude was in the elevator minding his fucking business if they say not to. Like we all have our own paranoias, whether they're based into like a reality or our own nightmare scenarios. And I know what mine is, and so I hear what yours is, and we just keep it cordial and stay away from each other and whatnot. EVE says, I wouldn't call myself a Harry and Meghan stan, but I see a lot of things about them on my Twitter timeline, and it appears most of the negative articles about them are from conservative-owned papers that they happen to be suing. Because it was so talked about, and I listened to 12 Archetype podcast episodes, they're pretty good. And Meghan was actually interviewing the main guests of the shows. There's no way she had people like Serena Williams, Trevor Noah, and Mindy Kaling not do the interviews herself because they were being conducted in her home. They did have small interludes on the show where there would be an expert in the field on the topic of the particular show, and that's probably what those articles are referring to. Although the way the article was written seemed to imply she didn't do any interviews. Yeah, I think that was Bill Simmons being messy. He's mad, and I really think it was that simple. I think he lied. I don't know if he purposely misled his audience, but I think it's one of those like I heard, and then he just went with it because he's mad. They're leaving. He spent all that money and they didn't fulfill what the contract said, apparently. These articles came from Meghan harder than they came from Trump, who's an actual piece of shit. I don't know why Bill Simmons doesn't like them. That is his cross to bear, but the whole royal family is one big grift, so let that half black woman get her money too. Black capitalism. You were on point about the Suki Hana stuff. I think along with not having a man associated with her, people think they can disrespect her because she has done porn and has an OnlyFans. But that doesn't mean she isn't allowed to have boundaries. Yeah, that's what's interesting to me is like, there are other people who do porn and have OnlyFans.
And they do not get treated
like you just don't treat them like that. Like, and maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to try to rationalize it. I don't know why those dudes did that shit. It's kind of like how just last week people were crying Zion Williams' ex because of her Twitter rant. Just because she does porn doesn't mean she doesn't have feelings. She was clearly hurt. People strip away other people's humanity to justify the fucked up things we say and do to each other.
Agreed.
Yeah, except I would say with Mariah Mills, as more time has passed, that feels more like she got some type of mental health thing going, or she is so far in on like the grift at this point that it's crazy. Because like she's posting positive pregnancy tests. She posted a video. She got kicked off of Twitter because she said she was going to basically sextort him, post a sex tape of them. She said she was going to do, which if the genders were reversed, 0 people would be okay with that.
Right.
So, and not to mention she's older than him, too. And then the other thing is she went and posted a video. She got kicked off Twitter. A video of her getting his name tattooed on her face. So at this point, that feels more like a clout thing than a
deeper thing.
This doesn't feel like this is some great love, and now it feels like, oh, I know another way I can keep getting attention. I'll keep saying his name. So
of course.
But even if that's the case, I just think mentally something's going on there. She needs some help. This Sukihana thing from Heavyweight says, this Sukihana thing makes me think of Meg Thee Stallion, all the men that came out after the verdict apologized, saying they handled it wrong. Here we have another instance of a black woman being violated, and the first impulse is either silence or to defend the man. Masculinity can definitely be a Republican-esque party line. Love that you aren't allowed to deviate from it anyway without garnering the ire of other men. Yep, I feel you. Like, I've been there before, man. I've taken that, that flack, and I think a lot of dudes have. You step out of line. I think the difference is, man, my relationships with other people's esteem cannot govern me. I can't let that happen because I feel like then you're not really in control of yourself. So I try to be cognizant of other people's feelings and stuff, but at no point am I going to sit around and be like, well, because these dudes are going to be upset that I think it's wrong to do this thing, I better not say nothing. I'm not scared of these niggas. You know what I mean? Like, you just a dude like me. We just have a different opinion. You think Michael Jordan's a GOAT. I think LeBron James is a GOAT. Let's fight. We'll be okay. But then when I say, something about like, hey, well, this is kind of fucked up and toxic and we shouldn't be, rejoicing in this, then all of a sudden it's too far. I don't think so. And this idea that men lack even a basic sense of self-control that is not only agreed upon but accepted as fact and then uses a bias to justify these inappropriate actions should be an insult. Instead, it's a crutch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things, one of the reasons I feel like I'm calling balls and strikes on some of these like intra-community, black women, black men type of situations and all other types of marginalization too, not just black men, right? Black women. But one of the reasons I feel like I'm calling balls and strikes is because I understand what it is to be a black man. And I've seen so many times where people throw up the label black man and then the rest of the community is supposed to run to your defense because, hey, I'm black.
Right.
Something's happening to me. And we're supposed to disregard all nuance, context, anything except you're a black man, and that's supposed to take care of everything else that any other thought we had, expunge it. We're protecting the black man today. And because I've broken out of that matrix, where I'm like, not necessarily. I defend people on the merits of their actions. If you're a black man and some shit happened to you was wrong, I got your back. But if you're a black man and you like abuse people, I don't have to have your back. I don't even know why that should matter to people. Right. It's why people look stupid. It's why people take so long to talk about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly and all this shit. And I don't understand why they have to keep repeating that pattern. And I'm not saying you got to be the first person to throw someone in the bushes or jump in their shit, but like, I see people, like the way I saw people react to Jonathan Major's defense attorney putting out their side of the story this week was complete like, y'all owe him an apology, exonerated, he didn't do nothing. And then like, once again, as we had already known before, there were these people out here that had other dealings with him and other sides. That comes back up in the Rolling Stone article. And now you got to ignore it. You got to find some kind of way that every 40 people are lying. You have to find a way because you are so deep in the matrix. You can't say, okay, well, look, man, maybe he is the guy who was an asshole in those situations, even if he didn't do this thing he was accused of on that other night. You can't live in nuance. You can't live in gray. You can't even wait to see. You can't even wait for the trial to see what all's going to come out because you have to pick a side because he's a black man. And that's just him in this situation. But it happens with a lot of people in a lot of situations. And I think I'll be trying to deprogram myself to not see the world like that because I think that's how people become the easiest pawns and the dumbest fools. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a black man, guys. It's okay. Guys, I'm a black man. The other day I got locked out of my apartment, and y'all know that was racism. And it's like, oh damn, okay, we got to start marching. And then you look into the story, it's like, oh, he was locked out of his apartment because he tried to burn it down. Well, okay, I don't think that's a black man thing.
Right, and also you fall into the trap we talked about before. When you do that, you could be easily manipulated. You could be easily struck to anger. They basically control your emotions. You literally have no control over your emotions. It's like something happened, be angry. Something happened, be sad. Something happened, be upset. Something happened, and they basically dictate how you feel versus you actually having control. And also, if you are a type of person where you're like, hey, dog, I understand we got all this information. This is a lot of shit to filter through. Allow me and let me filter through it. All of a sudden, you're a fucking problem because you don't have an instant answer.
Right. So then the last one, Angela says, hi, Karen and Rod. Excellent podcast. As always, you guys are the best. The way that the Royal Grifton family, UK media, and MAGA lie about Meghan, no matter how much evidence exists to prove the opposite, is a thing to behold. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but whatever. I hear something from their mouths about Meghan or Harry. I presume it's a lie, a projection of some ish the royal family is actually doing, or a twisted misrepresentation of a fact or a statement that M&H put out. M&H say they want to step back from their senior roles. The British media and royal family then twist their written statement to say that they left for privacy. The comedy TV shows and people in general start questioning why they are public and doing a book tour when they want privacy. It's insidious. I can't imagine being in their shoes. I mean, I don't even know, man. Like, yeah, I honestly don't know what it is that we're supposed to support or not support there, because if they wanted if they wanted their privacy, but then they lead a very public life, because essentially that's kind of what the role is, to be very public, and they make money off of being public. I mean, that just seems like it's going to always be a conflict for some people to understand, and I just don't care.
I don't either.
You know, it's like I look at them in the way I look at like I don't know. I don't care. The royal family to me is all kind of the same. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even mean it like they've had beefs in the past and I didn't care. I wasn't a Princess Diana person. When she died, I just remember thinking like, oh man, that's sad. You know, but I don't I was on the HBCU campus. I don't remember it like tearing up everybody. It wasn't really until Twitter that I met, quote unquote, saw so many black people that were royalist or type or very
right,
that knew all that information. That's why I believe Meghan Markle when she said she didn't really understand the magnitude of the royal family, because I said I didn't.
Right, and she's not from there.
Yeah, so I don't know. She has no problems in the entertainment industry for over a decade, but now according to them, she's a grifter and moving in an amoral way when it comes to the Spotify contract. Well, the other thing too that is apparent to me is whether good intention or bad intention. A lot of people feel like this black woman messed up Harry. Like he was perfectly fine, and then if not for this black woman coming in and fucking up his life, like none of these decisions are really his. It's all her somehow being evil behind the scenes and manipulating him. Right. That is occurring through a lot of the commentary. I just don't know how you arrive at all that without, I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. There's a probability that there's some sort of clause or understanding for her to do so without being sued by Spotify. The pattern I've seen on my Twitter timeline is that the RF, a royal family, and the MAGA spout lies when trying to distract from their own BS. Kate's parents are bankrupt despite monetary help from William and not paying for their vendors' his contract. I'm learning way more than I care. Not being paying their vendors is contracted by but Meghan is a scammer, lazy grifter, desperate for money, doesn't honor her contractual obligations. If a person isn't a stand or has a time or interest to fact check, people can easily end up thinking she is doing something wrong. I think that is what they count on, being to keep the big and little lies and misrepresentations coming fast and furious, and no one can keep up. And consequently, there is this tinge and doubt about Meghan as a person. She isn't president, but the way the RF media and MAGA talk about her reminds me a lot of how they talked about the Obamas. Just vitriol out of nowhere they used to dismiss, disempower, and delegitimize. Thanks for an awesome podcast. I think what's weird to me is like she's not an elected official. She doesn't hold office.
No, doesn't have a vote.
Yeah, like it feels weird that people care so much, and it feels weird that the royal family has a PR machine that needs to like bring her down, and it's like who is that for? Really, I don't know. Anyway, let's get to comments on the website, which is let me see, we got here 2 comments. The first one is from Absurd Spoonful. Says Confederate flags at half mast. Karen, please. And KJ Tipperton says Karen hit that Confederate flags at half mast and I lost it. Karen just flexing on them now. It was really good. Then the poll was, do you think they'll ever find a missing sub? Yes or no? Yes, 37%, 63% no, and on Spotify, 28% and 72%. So most of y'all said no, and they did technically find it. So
They
I
didn't
guess y'all were
find it
wrong.
in the totality, but they found.
They didn't find it, yeah, in time. I guess
They didn't find it as a whole.
the poll.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought, all jokes aside, because when people go implosion, I just thought it was gonna be a big ball. I didn't realize the ball was gonna blow up.
Yeah. Dr. Umar was right is the episode Q&A. K-Ton says, when Karen said they need to use GPS to find them, I cried laughing because the CEO who was down with them said that was a waste of money.
Oh no!
Nelson says, simply put, you look foolish wanting the title of king and complaining the crown is too heavy. It's supposed to be. Yeah, those black dudes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I'd see the day, says Aaron. Lee says, preach, Dr. Umar. Yes, he was right, but remember, hotels do be right about 60% of the time. It's that other 40% we gotta watch out for. I'm not even sure 60%. Top Loja says, Dr. Umar came off the top rope. Does this mean he can come back to the cookout? First of all, if there's a fictional cookout, this nigga was always gonna be there.
Yeah, you right. There is gonna be a hotel.
I'm not sure why this is the thing about blackness, man. It's not a monolith, and everybody that takes objection to some type of person being at the cookout is also a type of person that someone else at the cookout objects to. It's just black people. This is just what it is to be black. There's gonna be coons there and everything.
Yes, it is.
Banga says, I saw this question before. Listen, I thought you were trolling, but maybe. I guess a broken clock is right twice a day. Miss Barnes says, wow, is the world really healing? This is where we at. Agreeing with Dr. Umar. Philip says, if he has multiple baby mamas, I can't call him right. Clean your house first, sir. Kind of thinking that conversation was, I don't think he was denigrating people for having multiple baby mamas. I think what he was saying is, how can you denigrate your baby mamas when, you don't participate in the community? So, but yeah, I hear you. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing he said in the past. Raphael says, see what happens when you start mixing black coffee with milk. I prefer my Dr. Umar straightforward. I demand the rest of that white female agent they used to get him. I know what she did. Roger says, hey, Rod and Kay, just to give you a backstory on Sookie, I think the guys who sexually offended her felt just because unlike other rap girls, she does have sex on film via OnlyFans. I'm not justifying though. Yeah, I guess we already talked about that. Adabola says the convo around toxic masculinity was A1. Women often hear our male family members be on the not my sister, auntie, niece, mom train, but still mistreat their wives and daughters. Walking conundrum.
Yes, they do.
Not just that, but a lot of times they mistreat their moms and sisters too. A lot of times they might hold their mom and their sister in reverence of some type, but every other single woman on the planet is not their relative.
Nope, if they not fucking them.
Yeah, and at the same time, she's somebody's mom, she's somebody's sister, she's somebody's daughter, and those men stop giving a fuck about that the second that it's not there. So to me, that's never been a noble thing to say. I always thought that was weird when men bring that up as like listen, I have sisters. It's like, okay, but that don't mean you treating people right.
Right, and you're not fucking them. They're not sexual objects to you. You don't. You don't have. You're not trying to put your dick in.
If sex is completely off the table with a woman in my family that loves me, then yes, I will treat her nice. Like, that's not a flex.
No, that is not, and that shows you that you actually don't care about women in general. Basically.
Yeah, to me, it's the same as a Republican saying I have a black friend.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, that doesn't mean
I have a vagina around me, and
that doesn't mean everything else you do is okay.
Right.
Aaron says, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Also, Karen said Confederate flags at half mast. LOL. Teacher says, I don't know, kinda. God help me for even thinking that. Yeah, nobody wants to be on Dr. Umar's side on this, it seems. Episode 2726, Big Mama Nacho Finn. You had 7 comments. Sandler Agnes says, hey, Rod and Karen, I apologize. I didn't know that you were sick as well with COVID. Just thought it was only Rod, but I hope you're feeling better as well. I listened to a recent Nerd Off episode and noticed you and LaShonda were ill. Just wanted to send my thoughts and my love as I did to Rod.
Thank you. I'm feeling better. My voice is not 100%. My nose is just stopped up. And I'm still coughing.
Also, yeah, I too have been purging anti-vax shit. Been 3 years with this shit, much longer with Jenny McCarthy telling others not to get any shot to further protect yourself. There's no side to this shit, just smart or stupid. Even though those shots had me feeling like I had 7 shots of Grey Goose, it fucking helped though. Saved me from severe illness, but I'm still here. You all are still here because of the protection the vaccine gave us. So again, hoping you both are recovering and getting rest. Peace. Thank you. Obvious says our vaccine skeptics are similar.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's not like you can lean away from the mic or anything. Our vaccine skeptics are similar to yours.
I'm a professional, y'all.
Yep. Our vaccine skeptics are similar to yours, but fewer than, and they can't vote for Trump even if they try. I don't think we have this kind of class action suits here. Also, the amounts of money you can win at court are relatively small. The country will take care of you with your health insurance, even if you don't have a job anymore. So that's good. I'm zero surprised by the lawsuit because with so many vaccines given, of course, that is a white woman is pretty much a given. And 98% of the people are white here. Glad you feel better. I just checked. The woman wants 150,000 euros and her name or photo isn't available. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars because I want you both to get well soon. Thank you. Sean says, wow. I mean, wow. Y'all really jumped the shark with those puns. But just took a boat and went sailing down pun lane. Every time you slow down, and I would think, name more puns, but just kept cruising along. Nothing could destroy her momentum. I was like, buoyancy, nothing like this. Boy, I ain't seen nothing like this in a minute. Buoyancy. They are not gonna stop. Some may say you went overboard, but I'm all for it. Keep cracking me up. We will. Full steam ahead. No, we do. EVE says, sorry to hear you got COVID, but glad it wasn't as bad as some. When I had it, the worst symptom I had was extreme fatigue, but thankfully that only lasted a few days. And for what I'm learning about the OceanGate incident, I think extremely wealthy people are a lot like young people who don't appreciate their own mortality. The youngs because they think death is for the old people, and wealthy because they think death is for poor people. Why else are they constantly looking for new thrills while skirting safety precautions? Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny to say it this way, but this is just how it's going to come off. It's funny how all the billionaires are getting, and all the rich people are getting painted with a very broad brush here. I'd say the vast majority of them are not doing insane shit like going to space or trying to get to the bottom of Titanic. But those are the stories that become salacious and big. And so we're like, look at these fucking richies always doing rich shit like this. Probably most of them are just doing blow and hookers and yachts and private jets.
And staying on land.
Yeah, most of them probably not even doing shit like this. It's not like they don't have the money to take care of it. I think extreme wealth makes people less cautious. The minute I would have seen the video game controller, I would have pieced the fuck out. But apparently common sense ain't that common anymore. Miss 1KO says, so I knew something was missing from the OceanGate discussion. Your puns. I work in the industry tangential to OceanGate debacle and heavy on the regulatory side, so I add this. It's interesting to see people share misinformation about a topic as if they are experts. As an engineer, I don't understand how Stockton Rush could have ever thought this was good safety practice. But I did enjoy your perspectives, and I'm finally glad something happened that I have some expertise on so that I know what's going on. Thanks for the intro to Behind the Bastards. Anyway, hope you guys are feeling better and better every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are feeling better every day. Not 100% yet. but just more like stuffed up. I don't feel sick anymore.
No, just stuffed up, and just every now and then I have a dry kind of cough because my nose and stuff is draining.
Yeah. Also, you could take some more cough syrup, but I think you stopped a few days ago.
I did. I took some today.
Yeah.
I knew. Yeah.
I'm by the way, I'm guilty of the same thing. I'll be like, oh, I'm basically better.
Right.
And then I'm like, why don't I just take the cough syrup until it's completely gone? I should just do that.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna start doing in a few hours.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't do that.
Because I think that's part of why it's lingering. Because it's like I'm here and I'm like, oh, I feel great today, and it's like, nah, you don't take this cough. So
yeah. I haven't had any of the nightmare long COVID stuff that I hear people talk about so far.
I smell the whole time and all that stuff.
That's not the long COVID stuff I'm talking about. But stuff like extreme fatigue, getting winded, laying down and sitting up. I haven't had those feelings.
No, me either.
Thank God, But yeah, and I don't know what the misinformation is that people are spreading, but there's a lot of conspiracy theory, and the internet takes a life of its own. Hopefully we weren't spreading any misinformation. I tried to get everything from articles and sources that I trusted, but who fucking knows? Everyone became a fucking goddamn deep sea dive expert the second these motherfuckers went missing. And I'm like, now I don't know shit about this white people shit.
Like I said, I thought implode mean like the cartoon. You go in the ball and you sink. I didn't realize it meant you go in and didn't blow
up. Let's see. Comments on YouTube for this episode. Did we have any? One, Ernest says, time to buy Logitech stock. They can only go up. That's a great point. The poll, did you find the Ocean Gate story funny or sad? Funny, 72%, 28% sad. And then it was much closer for the people with money because they're closer to being on one of these submarines.
Oh, shit.
So it was 55% funny, 45% sad on Spotify. Yeah, because they're that could have been me.
Yeah, there's I got my tickets. I got a refund just in time.
Queen Melmindy says, I work in the industry. The U.S. has such strict rules because of the USS Thresher. It is the second deadliest sub incident on record. The podcast Beyond the Breakers has a great episode on it, number 20. I don't know Beyond the Breakers. Lee says, I found the Ocean Gate story both funny and sad. Also, on another note, I am a closet Jack Harlow fan. I'm 35. My peers barely know who he is. I'm a little embarrassed, but I like his music. Well, good. Someone should. Some of y'all do.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. Like I said, I just know he exists. I'll just say, I've never actually sat down and been interested in listening to his music. But yeah, he's somebody and he has a lot of fans. So, that's reasonable.
Yamonte says, this Ocean Gate disaster goes on a list of historically ill-advised safety shortcuts right under the Donner Party. Ken Nicole says, when I hear about the do-it-yourself submersible, I find it humorous for a bit. Then I imagine a black guy's death scene in the movie Underwater. Don't look it up if you're sensitive to gore. Key says, so glad y'all are feeling better and the symptoms weren't too bad. Them jabs be working. Piccolo Tight to Death says, the more info I guess I learned, the more info we learned, the more we learned they were tripping. Can't feel bad for a person that spends $250K on a one-way ticket to a watery grave. Typhlosion says, I'm so relieved. I thought COVID took my niggas out the game. Sending my prayers to the house tips. # free Black Dolphins.
Thank you.
Orca laters, mount up, says James Clay with 2 dolphin emojis and a black power fist. Kisha says, I like mess as long as I'm not the center of it. And Joy says, I'm always late to award shows news, but I'm overjoyed to hear about Busta Rhymes getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. So many memories, bopping to his songs, love him. And I forgot to say, the Q&A for this was simply a mess. So y'all replied to just whatever y'all wanted to talk about, but I forgot to read that part. Last one of the week, episode 2727, the SSFAFO. We had 2 comments. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars for how people did not offer this deal during June. Popeyes did not offer this deal during Juneteenth. Mother Earth, the oceans, air, sky, etc. are truly overhumans.
They're trying to get us the hell up out of here.
EVE says, I bet the passengers on Ocean Gate were crushed when their expedition failed. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Every day I fight for a spot in heaven and I fail miserably. Let's see if there's any comments on YouTube for this one. 2. S. Carter Thomas says, yes to everything you said about cruises. I said I would never. And then my sister decides that's what she wants to celebrate her 50th. Pray for me. The 9th, 8092. I don't know. The 9th, I think. I can only imagine how disgusting the cruise ship is going to be after that first voyage. Plus, what is the turnaround going to be on it? They try to clean and turn over cruise ships in like 4 hours. No way they can ever clean that thing properly, ever. Could you imagine getting stuck in the ocean with that many people? With how things been going, I wouldn't risk the trip and end up being a Titanic 2 Electric Boogaloo. I know. I'm worried too, because like, what if the black dolphins attack it? I don't know. You know? Wow, breaking news on so I just got this as an email. Ocean Gate still advertising excursions at the Titan implosion.
Bitch, who's buying tickets?
I mean, what is the odds of it happening twice? Are the tickets buy one get one free now? Are they half off? I just need to know. I have questions. All right.
What they gonna do? New ship, implosion proof? The fuck is this?
The poll. Would you get on the Category 6 cruise ship? Yes or no?
That Category 6 cruise ship?
Yeah.
Right now, no.
Okay. 20% people say yes. 80% are with Karen and say no. Even bigger on Spotify. So these people felt more sympathetic about the fate of the submersible people, but 84% of them would not get on a Category 6 cruise ship. 16% would. And I think it's because for them, they're like, I don't do cruise ships with a lot of people on them because I'm so rich. You know, that's for poor people.
They do them specialty cruise ships.
Yeah, like I take my yacht if I want to go sailing. Okay.
Come on. Or I'm so special. I take them cruises that go like all around the world.
Oops.
Oh shit.
So then on Spotify, the Q&A, leave them sea lions alone.
Leave them alone.
Toy says white people need to stay away from the ocean until they learn some common sense. And Jane says, just leave all the animals alone. Haven't we learned a lesson from videos that show people treat dangerous animals as their cute pets, but fucked around and found out like bisons and elephants? That is true. They do be fucking people up, showing up at the funeral.
Come on.
We do have some voicemails. Let's get to those. The voicemail line, 704-557-0186.
Hello, Nelson, long-time listener, first-time caller. Respond to something said in episode 2723, slipping into Kevin Sanders' brunch booth. I'm a New Yorker, also an employee of the subway system. I can say this, and it's probably a lot of New Yorkers. It is not the ones on their social media. It's not very cut and dry. Because there's people who feel we're tired of violent outbursts on untreated, mentally people, which is fault of city and state not, doing anything about that. But also agree, Daniel Penny was excessive with being in a chokehold. Like I said, it's a wait to see. That's really my, take on it. Thank you.
I don't feel like I understood that. Am I crazy? What was he trying to say?
It was hard to hear.
I mean, like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. By the way.
No.
Listen, first time caller. Respond to something said in episode 2723, slipping into Kevin Sanders' brunch booth. I'm a New Yorker, also an employee of the subway system. I can say this, and it's probably a lot of New Yorkers. It is not the ones on their social media. It's not very cut and dry. Because there's people who feel we're tired of violent outbursts on untreated, mentally people, which is fault of city and state not, doing anything about that. But also agree, Daniel Penny was excessive with being in a chokehold.
Oh, we're talking about this.
Like I said, it's a wait to see. That's really my, take on it. Thank you.
Okay, I think I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You work for the subway system in New York. You say it's not that cut and dry. People are fed up with violent outbursts from, I guess, mentally people experiencing mental health episodes, and you think that the chokehold was excessive, but it's not that cut and dry. And you're gonna wait for it to come out and try with something. I think all of the things you said are pretty much reasonable. The only thing I would say is all of us who are upset that this man was died, there's going to be a time where this tape comes out, possibly, because I've already seen clips on and stuff online of the discussion of it, where it's this man held him like that for a long period of time until he died, and people were telling him not to. That's gonna be hard, evidence wise. So, but yeah, good luck with that. All right, next one from Walt.
Hey, Ralph and Caitlin, this is the Blue Wave Rider hollering at you for a quick minute. I ain't got too much to say, but I hear you disrespecting Arby's. So all them reports you have about dead bodies in the freezer and Arby's supporting Republican politics, all corporations support Republican politics.
Not true.
Even Walmart.
Not true.
And that's the spot if you a nigga. Anyway, shout out to EBE, Miss Barnes, and the rest of the Arby's hive. I'm gonna have, if it's a drug outlet, then I'm gonna get me a nickel bag with my beef and cheddar sandwich. So y'all be cool and have a good day. Out.
Oh, well, it's on us then. It's a point.
Man, you the Arby's nigga, bro. Just leave it. I'm not eating it. I'm not eating it.
No, give it a chance.
No, nobody give it, bro.
Oh, we got the meats.
We got the meat. Listen to that shit, bro. That shit sounds dirty. That's dirty.
Somebody eat it.
Hey, stop. Get
That's how it feels when y'all call up about.
The hive is out, buzz, apparently.
It's just so weird. We have so many people that are internet, social media connected, and they don't ever post videos of them inside a crowded Arby's eating with all their friends. You know what I mean? It's never evidence. It's just them calling up Arby's paid them a check to lie to us. It's so weird. But good luck to you.
Hey, how you doing there, Roddy fan? Hey, this is Tim, one of your longtime faithful listeners. Just calling with a question. I've been listening to you guys for many, many years on the Stitcher app platform, and just got a notice that they're going away in July.
Right.
And the question I have for you is, as a 65-year-old listener, what is another podcast app that is user-friendly for an old guy to use to be able to pull up and listen to your show? Hope you can help me answer this question. And again, thank you guys for all the years and years of service that you have done for the Tip Nation, and hope to hear from you soon.
Oh, man.
Oh, thank you.
First of all, thank you for listening, Tim. We always have statistics on our listeners, and it says we have people 65 and up that listen to the show, and I've always so who is it other than my mom and my dad? You know?
Yeah, I was who are these people? And apparently you're one of them. What I found out, and me and Roderick have, I've used multiple podcast apps. I think the easiest one to use, kind of regardless if you have an Apple or Android, is Spotify. I found out that it's the easiest to use, and with Spotify, all our podcasts go all the way back to the first episode, because some platforms, some apps, I realize they don't go all the way back. You might have a few hundred and possibly a few thousand, but they don't go all the way back to the very, very first episode. And so I've realized Spotify is just easiest regardless of what type of phone that you have. And once you download it, you can just type the name in there and we'll pop right up, and you can actually play us from there. And it doesn't actually require a lot of, you don't have to be really tech savvy, because some of the other apps, not trying to be funny, I've used them, they're kind of more tech savvy, you almost have to know how to use it, know how to navigate it, and it can be very complex. If you have a Apple device, just go ahead and use the Apple Podcast if you have an Apple device. But I realized that Spotify, to me personally, is even easier to use than Apple and more user friendly.
I think Spotify is the best app right now, to be honest. I'm sure it'll be a change from from Stitcher and what you had,
Right.
because everything's a change. But they do a pretty good job. If you really have any like issues navigating it, you can always like look up a YouTube tutorial or something like that. Just go to YouTube. But you know, just as a person that uses it to listen to most of my podcasts at this point, when you go to the podcast tab and you know you follow the shows you want to follow, there's like a thing where you can just hit new episodes, and there's like a little icon for it, and it'll show you all the shows that just recently came out, and you can put it in the right order and stuff. So I think Spotify, I think Apple Podcasts is another one, very user friendly. Apple gets a bad rap because people like, it's so big, people feel like we can just shit on it now. But the reason they're so big is because they're probably the easiest, most intuitive people when it comes to just apps. Like maybe you can't do all the shit that people that know how to code or custom design their own iOS or whatever. I don't know about all that, but I do know that if you just want to like click and play, Apple pretty much got you on that stuff. So I would suggest that. And then there's a bunch of other apps you could use, RSS Radio and you know, some of these other places, but I think Spotify for me pretty much got it covered.
Yeah, because and put like this, as someone who really used podcast apps a lot and navigated and personalized it and things like that, if you're not into that type of thing, because a lot of these apps offer like personalization and all types of stuff, but if you don't really care for that, you like, I just want to listen to my podcast, it is actually the easiest introduction outside of Stitcher. So I would say try Spotify, and then if you want to branch off from that, you can. Each one has their own features, their plus and minuses, all to your own personal preference. But if you're like, I just want to listen to my podcast, I realize as far as the user friendliness and the easiness of it, Apple and Spotify is the best. I say Spotify because Spotify can be used regardless of what kind of type of phone you have.
Yep, and I've been forgetting to play music so that we can put in the ads. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this shit later, but I can play some right now. Damn it, Karen! Yes, the hell I can. Let's go. Let's get into these emails. Okay, it's email time. It's email 30. The last thing we have to do before we get out of here. Tanisha writes in, she wrote a long email last time. She said, damn, my email was long. You had me wheezing, clowning me about it. It seemed so much shorter when I read it to myself. You're right. Keep that voicemail at 2 minutes and I'll let that be my format editor. Love y'all, Tanisha.
That's hilarious.
Thanks for understanding. And here's my thing, man. If y'all are going to do that, we're going to try to read everybody. We try to make sure everybody's voice is heard. We really do. But also, we got a job to do. We got to make it entertaining. And I appreciate that y'all can laugh with us when we're laughing at you about this kind of stuff. Because, you know, we all got to have a little bit of sense of humor about this shit.
Yes.
Oliver says, about Megan and the podcast, a producer from the show said that they didn't edit their questions on the show. Questions were sent out to experts about the subject at hand. The expert response sent back their audio reply. Those responses go into the history part of the show. Producers were in contact with those experts. But the celebrities on the show, which could be up to 5 on some episodes, those she interviewed herself. Megan, like the Obamas, had the same contract, and they left after 3-year mark too. They only produced 3 more episodes than what Megan did from the Obama stories when they left, and what others that worked on the podcast have said, that Spotify wanted them to be on the mic talking about current event type stuff, and it was something that neither of the Obamas or Meghan and Harry wanted to do. Also, that both couples had a hard time getting shows approved. I wonder what that means. Getting shows approved. I would like details on that.
Me too. What does that mean? Was it the guest? Like,
was
it the timing? Like,
who decides what gets approved there for a show? It's hard to imagine the Obamas and like to me, it just feel like you write them a check and just when they send something in, you just put it up.
Right.
But that's just me. The thing about Harry and Meghan, told y'all I got a lot of these.
The thing about Harry and Meghan, the thing about M&H.
God damn. I really don't want to care. Okay, I'm sick, I'm coughing. This is terrible.
We gonna learn whether we want to or not.
Hi, Rod and Karen. First and foremost, huge fan of your show and have been a dedicated listener for 6 years. I love your dynamic as host, as husband and wife. Your guys are so funny and cute. And I want to start off by saying your podcast is a triumph, and I hope you guys stick around for as long as possible. We're going to try. I'm writing in response to the article you read about Harry and Meghan's deal with Spotify collapsing. I want to address the issue around her not interviewing guests. I listened to all 12 episodes of the podcast. The podcast had man guys, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she does say, while I like the podcast, I found it overproduced. And while Meghan is a likable personality and has great podcasting voice, she's still holding back. I think she still has a lot of fear of showing too much of herself, given everything that's happened to her since she got with Prince Harry. She does not want to add more fuel to the fire, but fire stays roaring whether Meghan adds fuel to it or not. Yeah, the fact that she has some grifting ass, like in-law ass white people that try to bring her down, like it's a lot going on over there. I just have generally decided that I'm quote unquote on her side, and the like, I don't like of the people that are involved in this conflict. I think her and Harry seem the least problematic.
Mm-hmm.
It should be noted that this is a joint deal. Meghan made a podcast, Harry did not. Where is the smoke for him? Well, Bill Simmons did say some shit about Harry. I think it didn't go as viral, but he said something fucked up. Hold on, let me Google it. But he said something about Harry that I thought was like, damn, that's fucked up too. But maybe because a lot of y'all that are in this Harry Meghan back and forth with people, I think it's more about Meghan. At least if you listen to our show, it's more about y'all feel very protective of Meghan. And so maybe that's why it didn't go viral, because Simmons previously criticized Harry in January 2023 episode where he said he was so embarrassed to share Spotify with him. Sorry. What does he do? It's one of those things where it's like, what's your talent? Why are we listening to you? So you were born in a royal family and then you left? You live in fucking Montecito, and just like you sell documentaries and podcasts and nobody cares what you have to say about anything unless you talk about the royal family and you just complain about them. So that seems pretty cutting, and like Bill Simmons had that energy for Harry that he had for Meghan as well, but I don't think it went viral because I don't think people are invested in defending Harry as much as they are in Meghan.
Agreed.
The Spotify signed them in hopes that them doing the podcast in which they spilled the tea on how helpful Harry's family is. Whatever the reason, the pair did not do enough content-wise, and that's on them. But Spotify has to take some crap because they keep signing celebrities in our podcasts. That's the part I really do want to talk about, and I never get to talk about it because everybody wants to talk about Harry and Meghan. I'm just like, Spotify's entire fucking thing is go get a celebrity who probably ain't got the time or wherewithal to do a podcast, and then get mad that they're not dedicated to podcasting.
Right. This is not their lane. And a lot of times they have multiple forms of income, and podcasting is not the top of their list.
Like, you threw $20 million at these folks, man. No offense to Meghan and Harry, but they were never going to do anything worth $20 million with a podcast anyway. There's not a lot of $20 million podcasts in the world. Like, it takes a lot of dedication. Like, say what you want to about Joe Rogan, but this motherfucker will go up there 3-4 hours in a day and sit around and talk about nothing and bullshit. But he's
consistent.
But he is dedicated. That is one of his number one priorities. He's not. You never go, man, that's weird. Joe Rogan just stopped putting podcasts out for a while. Like, you don't worry about that.
You're never going to get that from him. He going to put some shit out.
And he didn't do it because it wasn't like Joe Rogan, what a big name. When they got Joe Rogan, they were getting the biggest podcast, not the biggest name. Right. You know? And I think that's what people are missing. You just think you can just slap a famous person's name on a mediocre ass podcast that anyone could have done and be like, see? And it's like, that's not going to make money. And that's why y'all fucking lost all that money. You know, they put nickels and dimes into the people who actually had podcasts that could have used the promotion and all that stuff. They put nickels and dimes into that program and then throw millions and millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars at some of these big names. Oh yeah, the Bill Simmons comment. His comment was unprofessional. I would not want to work with him or work with Spotify if that is how he carries on about a guy he clearly dislikes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
understand
not-
why that's not unprofessional on him to say.
Yes, that's my biggest thing, and it sounds like this is some shit you need to complain to the board about or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're
like,
not just a podcaster.
correct.
Anymore.
You're not a nobody.
But I think a lot of these companies. That's another reason I think a lot of these companies are fucking up. When you see them bringing on people in official capacities where they govern over other people on the platform, and it's a Joe Budden, a Charlemagne, a Bill Simmons, I'm like, that's a very short-sighted thing to do. Those are personalities. You need a suit. You need a person that's a suit that doesn't think everything that happens is something I need to get on the microphone and tell people.
Agreed. Because then decisions and complaints about this will be behind doors.
All this to say that as a black British woman, black British woman, I'm sorry, I've been reading this all wrong. All this to say, as a black British woman, I'm just kidding. I'm sick and tired. I don't know how to do an accent. I'm sick and tired of seeing these two, especially Meghan, denigrated. Meghan has done nothing wrong. She is blamed for everything. When the root cause is Harry's family and the parasitic relationship they have with the British press, Meghan has been suicidal and lost relationships with some friends and her father. He is garbage. The global smear on this woman is gross, and it's not just race-based hate, but anti-American as well. Meghan was not grateful enough to be married to the royal family. She and Harry left nearly 3 years ago, and she rarely makes appearances, but everything they do is reported in the news as fact, when it was just a rumor or not true. Also, keep in mind, Harry has been in court in a case against the tabloids. The press are doing the best to make him the problem when he is trying to seek press reform. I'm going on a bit, but keep in mind that the stories about Harry and Meghan should be taken with a pinch of salt, especially if taken from the Daily Mail and the Mail Online, a tabloid that Meghan successfully sued, will make a lot of money writing BS articles about her because she generates so much hate traffic. Much love to you both, Nelly. Thank you, Nelly. Kiana or Quiana says, hey guys, let me start off with, I always forget how funny Rod's parents are until they come back on the show. I love the episodes with them. Yeah. Now to the matter at hand, this shit with Suki is pissing me off. I agree with everything y'all said. The mental acrobatics that people do to blame women for being harmed by niggas is truly astounding. Consent ain't that complicated. I don't care what she raps about. I don't care how she dresses. I don't care about none of that. If a person doesn't tell you it's okay to touch them, then it's not okay. Yeah, we've interviewed porn stars on our show back in the day, and yeah, it's not. I was never on here like, so Sarah J, let me tell you something. First of all, I would eat that ass from the back, what I'm saying? Make you sit on my face. Then I slap my dick on your tonsils. It's like, who the fuck? What is wrong with you?
Right. What is wrong? There's something wrong with
What is wrong with you? And like for Candy to be sitting up there laughing at that shit or whatever, it's like, what is wrong with people, man? Anyway, like Karen would just sit here and be like, oh boy, yeah, interesting day today, Get out of here. If a person says what you're saying makes them uncomfortable, shut the fuck up. Really easy. When Karen said men try to downplay women saying we don't feel safe with them, I started clapping my hands because it's true. Some quick stats from the DOJ. 35% of black women experience some form of sexual violence during their lifetime. 40 to 60% of black women report being subjected to coercive sexual contact by the age of 18. In the U.S., 38% of black women experience sexual violence other than rape during their lifetime. For every black woman who reports rape, at least 15 black women do not report. Long story short, we all know someone who has dealt with sexual assault. It's just funny to me how dudes always act like they don't know anyone who's doing the assaulting.
Right.
Thank you, Rod, for mentioning how black women on college campuses were actively encouraged not to report sexual assault by male students because it shows the layers of harm we face. Which brings me to the next point. I ran into my old neighbor at a coffee house a few weeks ago. We both work in the government. She recently left local government to work for the feds. Her job is to go to HBCUs, help set them up and reinstate their offices. They handle reports of sexual violence on college campuses. These offices were dismantled by Betsy DeVos' punk ass under Trump. President Biden is doubling down on the effort to get these back in place. So when people say he's not doing anything with black people, I know they're lying or not paying attention. Anyway, hope y'all had a dope ass Juneteenth. Love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna be celebrating it again on July 4th. We double Juneteenth up in here. Let's see. Hey Rod, hope all is good. I'm rewatching Walking Dead with my sibling. Just finished season 2. The dictatorship is forming. What is the best and easiest way to find the recaps you did? I think they were on the regular show until season 5, maybe. First of all, I think they all were on the regular show for Walking Dead recap. Oh wait, no, you're right. Premium, we used to do this thing called off-season reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say the first season or two of Walking Dead, we reviewed it for off-season reviews. That's what we watched the whole season, and then we just kind of review it in like an hour or two, just with our thoughts about every episode. We actually have a Spotify list, which is the Blackout Tips Walking Dead recaps.
Mm-hmm. I think we have several. We have Walking Dead.
We have a Game of Thrones one.
Mm-hmm.
We have like I said, we have our Walking Dead recap. And what it is just it's called TBGWT Walking Dead Recaps. That's the name of it. It's 97 episodes. And it's every time we did a recap on the show. Going back to episode 2305, where the Hose at, HOSE.
I listen to the Black Guy Who Tips.
I didn't mean to play that. But yeah, so it's on there. I'll tell you what. I hope I can remember to do this.
I'll add it to the notes.
I was gonna say I would add it to the show notes. I'll leave it up to Karen to remind me. So write that down.
I will. All right.
I'll put it in the chat right now, so y'all can, if you want to follow these, you can. And yeah, there you go. Now back to this. It would be icing on the cake to hear your takes on it again after I watched them. Thanks for your best podcast in the world. I was so happy to renew. Currently going through pregame catalog. Thanks, Eddie from the UK.
Thank you, baby.
This is from Femi from Toronto, who says, "Hey R&K, just listen to the pregame podcast. I heard the unfortunate news. That was the only avenue. This is the only avenue I can send you some well wishes since I'm not on Twitter or Facebook. Please take some time, as we all love you too, for the levity you bring for your efforts." So I think just talking about the COVID.
Thank you, baby.
Last one. This is from Devana, who says, "Hey Rod and Karen, this is Devana, also known as Diggums in the chat and via my thoughts on social media. I just wanted to say thank you so much for my birthday wishes. I also really wanted to thank you for responding and honoring my daughter Camille's request.
Oh,
not a lot of people will take notice and listen to a 15-year-old, but the fact that you made the time to not only read a request, but also fulfill it by making a video, for me, this is such an amazing birthday gift because the kind of support instills confidence in young people. She is right. You guys are my favorite podcast. I gladly pay tithes for the premium subscription every year. I've been listening to you for at least 7 years, and my daughter Camille listens when she is in the car with me. I do also have a 12-year-old twin girls, but they are too sweet and not jaded by life to get why we laugh so hard at others' misfortunes. You're raising them right. Meanwhile, me and Camille would sit around and listen to Bullet Ball Story like it was the night before Christmas. Again, I just want to say thank you so much. I'll continue to support, and hopefully we can meet you in person one day. And then she sent a picture of her and the family at Comic-Con. And yes, Karen, I am going to put it on the screen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I like pics.
I know you do. I know you do. And this is all of them at Comic-Con. Oh, look at this. All this.
Oh, that's precious. Mm-hmm. The babies.
And yeah, so behind the scenes, because y'all don't know this part, but her daughter Camille wrote us an email asking if we could wish her mom a happy birthday. Camille's 15, and she sent it a couple weeks ago. We got COVID, and so I had to wait till we felt a little better to record it, and we just recorded it like a day before it was actually like gonna be her mom's birthday, and we emailed it to her. It's just a quick little video, so it was like a easy lift, a nice thing to do, and I'm glad it made your day, and I'm glad it made Camille's day, and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, baby.
All right, that's it for this feedback episode. We'll be back throughout the week. We actually have guests lined up this week.
Oh shit, now
look like it's gonna be a sausage fest, but we got we got Mike Brown tomorrow at 11 a.m. From Comedy Outliers, which is back, by the way. Simeon Goodson, who's a first-time guest on the show. He was the person that Drunk Black History when I was there. He was the comedian that performed. Mm-hmm. And then JL Covan's supposed to come in too, this week because his special Tall Boy, which we watched already because we're Patreon members, we watched his special, but it's now out for the public on YouTube, I believe. And I think it's number 1 on the comedy charts on Apple. So and it's been that way for 3 days.
Shit, I wonder how JL feeling.
It's just enough to keep him from quitting.
Right.
Comedy.
Get his hopes up just to turn around and crush him.
Yeah. Just enough.
Just enough.
Yeah, well, just like Al Pacino and Unprotected Sex. Every time he thinks he's out, he keeps leaving it back in. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you.
Can't quit.
We'll talk to you later. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Y'all have a good rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Peace.